Analytical perception is looking at the big picture and taking the image and breaking it into its parts. These exercises with analytical perception are a wonderful way to teach students mindfulness. Even, unfortunately, adults and a lot of my concussion and TBI patients need this. So we want to set someone up for success. And in the same way that we pack to go to the beach differently than we pack if we're going to a family dinner, we get ready to go to a family dinner and, or to the restaurant, and we may dress one way. If we're going on a trip, we pack our bags to go to a warm climate one way, to go to a cold climate in another way. So we want to prepare the individual by looking at this sheet first, this exercise first, and we talk about the fact that in the middle is a completed shape. With some people, some students, you might have to limit the visual field. I don't know. Some need to have it. And we look at this shape and we look at this. What does this look like to you? Can you relate to this image at all? And this isn't, and many students will say this is a house. This is a house and this is the roof at the top right here. And then, I don't know what this is. There's another triangle down here. Maybe that's the floor. And then you say, well, do you notice that the dots are different colors? And the blue dots create a rectangle, and the red dot creates a triangle with two blue dots. Okay, so we've talked about this. We've become familiar with it. In the same way, you want to recognize the person sitting next to you or the person that's supposed to be your buddy in line. This shape is going to be your friend. And so we look at this shape and then I say, okay, now I want you to complete each one of these so that they look like the middle. And they might be able to complete, each one. Or they might not. And they may miss lines. So if they miss lines, like I just did, allow them to do another few pages and then hand it back to them and say, you know what, can you take another color? Any other color. Look carefully. Look very carefully. I want you to look very carefully. Look very carefully at this one at the bottom. What do I have to do? Oh, I forgot the line. Oh, that's good. Oh, I forgot the line. Okay. Do you want to use these papers, you say to the student, to look at the others if there are other mistakes? And they go through the next 5 pages and find their own mistake. If they can correct their own mistake, they are habituating a new pattern of behavior and limit other errors. When I started teaching, I was 21. And this is before I met Professor Feuerstein. And I taught English and history to 8th grade students in Evanston. And I used to take the papers, the essays that students wrote, and I used to type them on mimeograph paper and crank them out. And I would hand to every student a package of mimeographed essays from another class, usually not from the same class, with no names on them. And I would ask them to correct the papers. Everyone always learned to write. in my class. I don't know if I was such a great writing teacher. My intention was there, but I think their opportunity to read other papers, to learn from other people's mistakes, to incorporate other ideas was paramount in allowing them to become writers. Okay, so we start with this. Are we still on this?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. So we start with the simple rectangle and the two triangles. And let's see if I can show you. Oh, we come to images that are more complex with a lot of angles. We still have the colors, but we get to greater complexity. Now this is the fun part. In the middle, the image is in its upright position. But there are 4 samples where you have to look at it from a different perspective. You have to see things from a different perspective. So you have to identify your frame of reference. Oh, there's a rectangle here, these blue dots. I'm going to connect the blue dot first. I'm going to connect all the blue dots first. I'm going to connect the blue dots first. I'm going to connect the blue dots first. We start rotating in our mind's eye. We build this visual imagery to rotate a shape in time and space. This is what you need for physics. This is what you need for mathematics. This is what you need for abstract thinking. This is what you need for complex decision making, seeing things from different perspectives. And so now we take the 100 images and we are going to move them to the left side. All of them rotate to the left side, and all of them will rotate to the right side. And they're upside down, total opposite. And then there's a group of far more complex images with more angles. So we always I try to develop tools that are hierarchically organized. So there is a challenge. And I had the pleasure of being not really on the lecture circuit, kind of on the lecture circuit with Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi is the University of Chicago scholar who identified flow. You are when people are in flow, they're not hungry. Time and space, time is different. It's I think a very good example are the when someone's doing something that they love to do. Dennis Rodman, he was, a loose cannon. But when he was on that basketball court, he was right on task. And he was in the zone. And Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi found that 87% of the population are happiest when they're challenged, not when they're sitting passively, not in front of television. Only 13% of the population were happiest being passive. Well, I'd like to think that I'm part of the 87% that are happiest when I'm being challenged. And being challenged means that you're not passive. You're an active generator of ideas. It's so exciting to be involved. And so these exercises are giving someone an opportunity. And when you take some of these exercises and you start rotating them, they're very complex. They can be very challenging. I had a 12-year-old in the gifted program, and she told me these were just so easy. These are just so easy for her. And I started looking over them, and I appreciated that there were many that she didn't finish, there were many that were done wrong. And when you have a child in a gifted program, the best thing that you can do if you see a lot of errors is just to point out one or possibly two, and then say, you know what, maybe you want to go back and look at these again with a different color and let them see what checking their work accomplished. And I always say, if you find your mistake, it's not an error. It's only if someone else finds your mistake that it's a problem. It's not a mistake if you find it first. It just means you're being careful. So this is a series of approximate, I don't know, about 400 exercises. Yeah, I think they're about 400.